supporting abortion with other funds would be to weaken, if not destroy, the International Planned Parenthood, which is a voluntary amalgam of non-governmental organizations worldwide, and is one of the most effective forces. I would say it is the most effective non-governmental force in the world supporting population planning in the third world. It would be a disaster if through the U.S. action that organization was seriously weakened, as I believe it would be. And I should digress to say that one of the results, I'm sure, of weaker population planning programs, which would result from weakening the International Planned Parenthood, would be a higher rate of abortion by the end of the century, exactly the reverse of the administration's objective. We have accumulated enough evidence so far. I hope the conference will set those policies and stimulate the participants, particularly the industrial nations, to help the developing countries achieve them.
And then, if we meet again 10 years from now, God willing, the picture might be, can it be slightly improved by then?
It can be, but the way we're going, it's going to be worse. And I predict that if we continue as we are, by the end of this century, there will be widespread adoption of coercive policies, national coercive policies restricting the freedom of individual, leading to, for example, forced sterilization, restricting movements from rural to urban areas, and stimulating what I call brutal family practices, high rates of abortion and high rates of female infanticide. That's what lies ahead of us. That's what lies ahead of the world unless we deal more effectively with this problem.
So thank you very much for your time and assessment. Thank you for your involvement.
Thank you indeed.
Good, sir. Now we've spoken with our former Defense Secretary and the former World Bank President. He sees no light at the end of the tunnel.
Isotope Benson says this during the April 1973 Worldwide General Conference.
How strong is our will to remain free, to be good? False thinking and false ideologies, dressed in the most pleasing forms, quietly, almost without our knowing it, seek to reduce our moral defenses and to captivate our minds. They entice with bright promises of security, cradle to the grave guarantees of many kinds. They masquerade under various names, but all may be recognized by one thing they all have in common: to erode away character and man's freedom to think and act for himself. Effort will be made to lull us away into false security. Proposals will be and are being offered and programs sponsored that have wide appeal. Attractive labels are usually attached to the most dangerous programs, often in the name of public welfare and personal security. Again, let us not be misled. Freedom can be killed by neglect as well as by direct attack. Too long have too many of us, and people of the free world generally, stood by as silent accessories to the crimes of assault against freedom, assault against basic economic and spiritual principles and traditions which have made nations strong. Let us strive for progress down the road of goodness and freedom. With the help and blessings of God, the free people of the United States and the free world can and will face tomorrow without fear, without doubt.
And they believe in one world government.
Again, problem, reaction, solution, over and over again. Government uses crises to scare the population into submission. You know what's in Patriot Act 2, Section 501? You put the description of a terrorist under Section 802 of the first Patriot Act, you can be arrested, secretly executed. That's right, a 3 military judge panel. Now, what is Section 802 of the first Patriot Act that passed on October 27th, 2001, at 5 in the morning, when no one was allowed to read it, according to members of Congress? The definition of terrorist is any action that endangers human life that is a violation of any federal or state law. They have many other definitions about anything that influences government. Go read it for yourself. They're counting on you not reading it. Last century, 200 million killed by government. 200 million killed. Millions of American Indians, Native Americans killed in this country. So don't tell me we shouldn't have a concern when the most draconian legislation in the history of the world, dwarfing Byzantine Spain and France, is rolled out against the people. Section 213 of the first Patriot Act lets them break in your house or any business, take whatever they want or plant whatever they want, and not tell you for 6 months they were there, and they're administrative, they're rubber stamps, they're for everybody, they're for whole classes of people. And now under the new Patriot Act, they have sections where they say our officers do not even need these administrative subpoenas or warrants. They can just carte blanche go anywhere they want for any crime or suspected crime. Well, yeah, we're going to use this in all crimes, all drug crimes, everything, misdemeanors, third-degree felonies, everything. That's on the record. U.S. attorneys, deputy attorneys, assistant attorneys, all these people, they're saying, yeah, we're going to use this for everything. They are using it for everything. The Victory Act, which is a continual salvo in this attack on the American people, clearly states that any possession of a controlled substance is an act of terrorism under Section 802, pointing back to that enacting clause. Well, it endangers human life. It's a weapon of mass destruction. They've actually got articles in the news about, oh yeah, they're charging people with weapons of mass destruction because they had marijuana. That the level of deception and manipulation and skullduggery surrounding the Patriot Act's passage, surrounding the introduction of Patriot Act 2, Victory Act 1 and 2, the lies by the Justice Department and their minions, telling us that it doesn't affect citizens, telling us that we don't have anything to worry about. It demands that we stand up and speak out and repudiate this nightmare legislation.
Enron and WorldCom steal, DynCorp vaccinates, Halliburton feeds and feeds and feeds and feeds. Americans hurt, and in Iraq, Americans die. I believe the promise of our country was stolen 2 generations ago in bold and brazen acts of violence. Snipers' bullets took that America away from us. And almost in rapid succession, bullets took Martin and Bobby from us too. It came to my attention during my last days in Congress that Bobby was considering Dr. Martin Luther King to be his running mate. And of course, only these recent revelations about the lies, basically, the deceptions that put our young men and women in harm's way in Iraq, and they're stationed all over the globe, and they're getting sick, and
for Dick Cheney's bank account.
Well, Dick Cheney isn't the only one who's making a whole lot of money. You've got DynCorp that's got a sole source contract to provide vaccines for the Pentagon, and DynCorp is the corporation whose employees were over in Bosnia and Middle Europe buying and selling little girls. So why should they be rewarded with a contract to provide vaccines to our young men and women who are soldiers, and now our soldiers are getting sick with this mystery illness and we don't know why?
And one of the last speakers talked about, it's not George Bush, it's not Dick Cheney. They're errand boys, they're puppets for the military-industrial complex that Eisenhower warned us about. Rand Corporation and others have said the entire economy will be prisons, police in black ski masks, a Nazi Germany-like nightmare. To talk about it, to read what's in Patriot Act 1 and 2, to see what Homeland Security does, Victory Act 1 and 2. We have got to get the word out now. We have got to warn everybody, because this military-industrial complex and their PNAC and their NORTHCOM plans state that they will carry out the terror, that they will engineer the crises so they can offer their solution.